To call the Battlefront Classic Collection a disaster is honestly an understatement because, wow, I have never seen a launch for a game this old go this poorly. Because not only did they only launch the game with 3 64-player servers for what they were hoping would be thousands of players, unless they just assumed nobody was going to buy this thing. But they also launched this game in a broken state with more bugs than the original classics that you can buy on Steam right now for significantly cheaper than this game right here. That's right, you can buy Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 in Steam right now, and they're still cheaper than this remaster. Not only that, I was just curious. So here is the lobby for Battlefront 2. That's the Classic Collection. Look at how many, wow, look at all those people that are just wanting to play this. Here is the Battlefront 2 lobby for the original Battlefront 2. There are more players online playing the original Battlefront 2 than there are the Classic Collection. That is insane. And even then, when I played Battlefront 2 on the classic, like the original, I can't even call it classic, the original servers, which are just servers done by fans because GameSpy shut down and you can't, it's not through them anymore, and I had no server issues at all. The dedicated server for the Classic Collection, I had disconnect problems, I had lag, I had so many different issues. I had people just constantly throwing out racial slurs and saying the worst shit possible, and they're not doing anything about it. And this is a dedicated server. This is the company's server. Zero management, zero stability. It's just garbage through and through. And, you know, the graphic remaster is just so lazy. I mean, I've seen mods that look better than what Aspire did as a company. And not only is it lazy, it's so lazy, in fact, that the textures are not compressed at all. So if you look at the file size of this game, it's a beast. It's like 60 plus gigabytes for what? For ancient games? Really? Well, this game's like 20 years old, and yet somehow you made the file size grow to 60 gigs? Not only that, I mean, even the instant action screen looks worse. I mean, even the main menu of this thing looks like they slapped it together. I mean, it looks like a bootleg game. It's just such a lazy slap in the face, and I was really hoping not for a whole lot. What I was hoping for was a game that has cleaner graphics, which yes, it does have cleaner graphics when you look at it, but they're not clean enough to justify a $35 price tag when you can accomplish this same thing with free mods. And also, I was just hoping that the online community would be this huge thing again. That's the number one thing I was really hoping for, was this was going to be an active player base, and that's just not what we're seeing here. Again, if you want to play Battlefront 2, the original, you can just go play it on the original, and they'll have more people online, and you'll find a game easier, and it's somehow a smoother experience. They failed at every basic thing they tried to tackle here, and the thing is that what they tried to tackle was so basic that it was already kind of disappointing. When they first introduced this as an idea during the Nintendo Direct, I was hyped because I love Battlefront. I know a lot of people do. That's why there's so many people making videos about how just awful this is, because there is a ton of people just like me that grew up with these games and would love to experience them again on modern systems and updated to run better on a modern computer and have just better graphics and things like that. And they failed graphically, I'd argue, because it could be a lot better. They didn't even compress them. They failed at revitalizing the multiplayer community, the fact that the original has more players. And they failed at generally making it a better game experience because of how many more bugs they've introduced into the game. And the fact that they went with porting and remastering, I'm going to put remastering in quotes, the console version instead of the PC version also baffles me. And then they also, this is just insane, they stole people's mods and put them in a product that they sold. I don't understand how that's legal. So there's a mod that somebody made to put a character back in the game, and they just shipped it. They just put it in, and shipped it, even though they got caught with mods being in the trailer, said, oh, no, don't worry, the actual release is not going to have it. The actual release has it. And it's absolutely baffling to me that they botched what should be such an easy thing to do. Even if they had just done those 3 things, that would be great. But I was honestly hoping for a little bit more before this came out. I was hoping it would be crossplay. That's kind of standard these days, I would argue, with multiplayer games, especially when you're going to launch on all the different platforms. That's just going to really keep the life of your multiplayer community strong for a lot longer than if you only have it segmented to the different systems. But unfortunately, they did that. I don't know why. Well, I know why, because they're lazy. They didn't add in mod support for PC to make it easier for people. It's not like they added in Steam Workshop or any sort of thing like that to make it easy for people to mod the game and, again, add life to it. It's not like they added anything new. They could have added like some sort of ranking system or something for the online multiplayer, or literally anything, but they didn't add anything except for mods that they didn't create and just stole. And I was also hoping that you'd be able to play some of those single player modes online with your friends, like doing some sort of co-op with Galactic Conquest, or I mean, that would be amazing. Just Galactic Conquest with your friends would be phenomenal, or some sort of online co-op way to play through the campaigns would be so much fun. And yet for some reason, well, again, I keep saying for some reason because I'm thinking like a logical human being, they were just lazy. They were sitting on a gold mine of an IP with most of the game built already, and all they had to do was slap on a couple extra things, a new coat of paint, and they couldn't even do that correctly. And that's just so sad. This is just a massive wasted opportunity. And like other people have already said, we need a reboot. We genuinely do. I mean, I recently played, for this video, I went back and I played Battlefront 2 from EA. And after they got rid of all those pay-to-win BS things and the loot boxes and everything, that game's a lot of fun. That game is so much fun. The graphics are phenomenal. They have a ranking system, so there's lots of like progression, and I'm not a huge fan of the card system, but I guess I kind of get it if you want to add some sort of progression in. But honestly, even without the progression, that game is just so immersive because it really puts you into the battle. Like, you're in it. The sound effects are incredible. You hear the Wilhelm scream occasionally. It's just so immersive. And if they had not botched the launch of that with greed, kind of like here, where they botched the launch out of laziness and greed, we would have a phenomenal game that would still have an active multiplayer base to this day. Though honestly, there are more players in that right now online of that game as well. So if you guys want to play that game, it's constantly on sale. It might be on sale right now. I think it's also on Game Pass, so there are plenty of ways to play that game. If you want to get your Battlefront fix, if this has sparked something in you and you are depressed and kind of sad that you aren't able to relive your childhood and play some Battlefront, just go play the original game because it still has more active servers than this new one, or try the one from EA because honestly, shocking that it's 7 years old, it's still fun. It's so much fun. I think it holds up very well. And if they hadn't botched that game and filled it with EA's greed, I think it'd still have a giant online community instead of like the 3,000-ish people it has now. I've heard people on console have no issues finding games. PC is the same way. Especially because, again, people are looking to get that fix, and now is the best time than ever to go on those older games because people really wanted to experience Battlefront. You still can by going to the old ones. And that's so weird to say. And I'm just so sad that this game botched its launch so badly. It botched the product even, not even just the launch. And I don't think they're ever going to update it. That's the sad thing. And the thing about Aspyr is, like, they've been putting out, like, I have a couple of their ports to the Switch. And I was just happy to have those games on the Switch. I wasn't expecting this huge upgrade. I wasn't expecting a whole lot from it because they didn't market it that way. They just said, here are some ports. And that's, I think, what they should have done with this, because that's what it was, essentially, was half-baked ports that, you know, added new bugs, but they didn't add anything. They said remastered, and all of a sudden, I mean, I feel like I'm not the only one. Everyone was like, whoa, they're going to breathe new life into these old games. They're going to really put a nice coat of paint on it. They're going to run smoothly, 60 frames per second. Everything is just going to be amazing. The online community is going to come back, but no, that didn't happen. They botched it. It sucks. I refunded it. I don't really refund anything on Steam, but I refunded this game. And if you can refund it, I think you should, just to send a message to Aspyr that this is not okay. And hopefully whoever gets the Battlefront IP next actually gives a shit about the franchise, and we don't see them pull an EA greed where the first Battlefront they released had like no content and the rest was in like a $50 season pass, and the second one, loot box galore, pay to win BS. I just want to see this franchise back. I want this IP to come back because there's so much potential for so much greatness. They just need to hand it to someone that gives a shit, and I'm really hoping that's what happens next. Let me know what you guys think about the Battlefront Classic Collection down below, what you've heard from other people, what your experiences have been. And of course, please do like the video if you guys liked it, subscribe for more content. As always, have a fantastic day. See you, everybody.